Okay, in the previous video I showed you how to change improper fractions into mixed numbers, but I commented that mixed numbers is sort of a mixed up kind of a notation. This really means 2 plus 5/8. One example of where mixed numbers is really inconvenient is when I'm multiplying two numbers in mixed number format. Because then you would have 2 plus 5/8 and all of that multiplied by 4 plus 1/3. And to really do this right, I would have to multiply each of these times each of these and add them all up. So I have to go 4 times 2 is 8, and then 4 times 5/8 would be 4 times 5 is 20/8, and then 2 times 1/3, which is 2/3, and then 5/8 times 1/3, which is 5/24. And then you have to add up all these fractions, and they have all these different denominators. So we're not even done, and you can see how messy it's getting. Plus, all the rules for doing this kind of an operation. You've probably never been taught this because no one really expects you to do things this way. When you get to algebra, you'll see problems like this, and this process will make sense, but it's still not the easy way to do it. The easy way to do these is to convert these into improper fractions and just use ordinary fraction rules for multiplying these two numbers. Let's try that. I'm going to erase all this. So the real problem is, how do I convert 2 and 5/8 into an improper fraction? So first realize that's 2 plus 5/8. Okay. Now we want to treat the 2 and the 5/8 as two fractions. So I put like a 1 under here. And now, in order to add the fractions, I have to have the same denominators. So I have to multiply top and bottom here by 8. So it'll have the same denominator as this. And so now I have 8ths on the bottom, and 8 times 2 is 16, and then add the 5 is 21. So this is 21/8. Okay? Now, notice there's a short way to do this. The number I multiply on top and bottom is always going to be the same as this number here. So another way to do it is take 2 and 5/8, and I know that when I multiply top and bottom of this by 8, it's going to come up with the number on top is 2 times 8. I already know the bottom's going to come out the same because that's the way we're rigging this to happen. So the bottom line is I can go 2 times 8 and then add the 5. 2 times 8 plus 5 all over 8. So put 8 on the bottom. Here's 16 plus 5 is 21. So this times this plus this all over this. Okay? Now let's do the same thing for this one. 3 times 4 is 12, and 1 is 13 thirds. So that's the way to actually do it in practice. If I wanted to carry it out from basic principles, I would say 4 plus 1/3, then multiply 3 over 3 here, and 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13, and the common denominator is 3, so 13 thirds. But just simply going 3 times 4 plus 1 is the way to figure out the numerator, and that's going to be the denominator. Okay? Now, let's move this down and actually do the original problem. Let's take 21/8 times 13 thirds. Now, I just jam them together. 21 times 13 over 8 times 3. That's the way we multiply fractions. I can do some canceling here. 3 cancels 21, leaving 7. And that's it. Nothing else will cancel. So on top, I have 7 times 13. So here's 13 times 7, 91. And on the bottom, I have 8. So we have 91/8. What if I wanted to change this back into mixed number format, just so it'll be the same format as the original problem? Well, divide 8 into 91. This is 91 divided by 8. So if I divide 8 into 91, 8 goes into 9 once, 8 ones are 8, subtract, and I get 1. Bring down the 1, 8 into 11 goes once, times 8, subtract, that's 3, and this would be 3/8. So 11 and 3/8 would be your answer. But as you can see, what I really did, convert both of these to improper fractions, follow the ordinary rules for multiplying, so you get around having to learn separate rules on multiplying. And if you want to convert it back, you can. If you want to leave it as 91/8, that's a perfectly good answer as well. Okay, that's what it's all about. So anytime you want to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, I would take this times this plus this. That's the numerator, and 8's the denominator. Or this times this plus this. That's the numerator, and this is the denominator. And from there, you can do whatever the problem asks from that point on. Okay, that's about it for this topic.